This week I will share with you how I make my roses survive our harsh winters. We will also travel down to Uppsala, build a flower fountain, and deal with my fear of deep waters. Good morning. So this week we're going to work on the other side of the garden with the rose bed and the fruit trees and the strawberries and the herbs, and also do some work, just a little bit of like cleaning work. I need to clean up around this porch and also on the porch because that had become sort of like a little art studio of its own. But I need to clean that up so we can actually sit there and enjoy our breakfasts properly. The main goal this week is to finish the rose bed, but otherwise just make it feel a little bit more complete. So firstly I'm going to start with this side of this rose flower bed, and I'm going to level the stones, make this look a little bit more neat, add a lot of soil to it. And then I have one more rose that I need to plant that I bought in the previous video. So I'm going to show you how I've learned to plant roses in this colder climate to make them survive, which is a little bit of a task, to be honest. I began with weeding and fixing the stones that were already in place. And now for the planting of roses. If you, like us, have more stone, sand and clay in your garden than good soil, you need to dig the hole at least 20 centimeters wider and deeper than what is suggested. If it says 40 centimeters, make it at least 60. You are essentially digging the rose an underground flower pot. While I dig, I let the rose soak in water. When the hole is large enough, add in good quality rose compost. I know it might be tempting to go for a cheaper alternative, but for planting roses it is worth it. I have seen the difference it makes myself. I forgot to film this part, but water the soil before adding the rose. If the rose's roots are wet and the soil is wet, you limit the risk of air pockets around the roots. Plant the rose deep. The soil should cover at least 10 centimeters above the roots. But here's the real trick to make it survive these harsh winters. Fill up with soil to the same level as the pot it came in, and then leave it like that for the summer. Leaving it in a hole forces the water to go deep, and the rose produces deep roots. In the autumn you fill up the rest, at least 10 centimeters, and even make it a little dome-shaped. This way, the melting water from the snow will not go down to the roots and freeze when the temperatures goes up and down like a jo-jo. In the midst of our garden work, Nils got a last-minute doctor's appointment down in Uppsala because of a cancellation, so we packed our bags and decided to make a mini trip out of it. On our way down we stopped at the beautiful Ulva Kvarn, an old mill turned into a place with art studios, antique shops and restaurants. The main building have a glass-blowing studio on the top floor, and we got ourselves some new wine glasses. On the second floor there's an antique store, and at the bottom there's a restaurant. Beside the main mill there's all kinds of artist shops and a cafe, and we sat down for a bite before continuing to Uppsala. We checked into our hotel and then took a walk in the town, mostly because I really wanted to see the mouse dioramas that are placed around the city center by the artist Jekatarina Pertoft. The next day Nils had his doctor's appointment and then we went straight home. When we got home I decided to go on a side quest and do something about this randomly placed round flower bed. But instead of removing it, I decided to build a flower fountain out of 2 flower pots and a wooden rod from an old hat shelf that was lying in the barn. I also felt that the garden needed some height, and this might just solve both those problems. The flower pots were made by a very thin metal, so I made the holes simply by using a flat screwdriver and a hammer, then bending up the corners and sliding it onto the rod. I screwed both flower pots in place and painted the wood. Then I bought some flowers down at our local garden center and voila! It might not be a real fountain, but it's a fun way to add height. The next day, Nils and I decided to stay a little in vacation mode and drive up to the lake located closest to us. We used to have a boat up at this lake, but a couple of years ago it got stolen, so this year we decided to get paddle boards to have something to use on the lake. Maybe we will buy a new boat at some point, but this was such a nice way to go around the lake. I was strangely excited about this, even though one of my biggest phobias is deep waters. I blame the X-Files. Like every millennial, I think that's where all my phobias came from. You nearly ever find me swimming where I can't touch the bottom. But somehow this worked just fine. I did have a life vest on, and the calm beauty of the lake combined with having full control made me love this experience. We had packed a picnic, so we were out all day, and this was just an amazing time. So it's been 2 days and things happened. We had my mother-in-law for a visit, and last Christmas she gave me a gift card for a peony of my choice. So we went back to a peony park and I picked out this one. It is so beautiful. It is like nothing I have in my garden before. And while we were there, they also had a sale on some roses that were looking a little bit more tired than the rest of them. And it was a great deal. It was 4 for 200 kronor, which is about 4 roses for like 20 euros. So I got some. Actually, it was Nils who convinced me. He was like, if you don't buy this, you're gonna regret it. So we got 4, and one of them is Europina. It's a red one. It's gonna go in the rose bed that I'm working on. Then we have a white climbing rose. In Swedish it's called Polstjärnan. And then we have 2 roses that are, is this one of them? Yeah, Munstead Wood. And these ones are like a purplish red. So I'm gonna find a place for them. And because we needed more soil for the roses, I went down to get that because we couldn't buy it with the same type because it just wouldn't fit in the car. So I went down to Mora to get some more soil, and then they had this on sale. So I got this one as well. It's also looking a little bit more tired, but we're gonna plant that as well. And then we also bought some kale plants because we haven't planted anything this year, and they had them on sale as well. So we're gonna plant them and just see what happens. And then I also got, I do not know what these ones are called in English, so I'm just gonna put it down. They are very beautiful red-leaved plants. And you can actually also eat the seeds if you want to. More like a quinoa kind of a seed. So, yeah. We just bought ourselves a lot more work, pretty much. So, yeah, I'm just gonna get to it and get all of these into the ground. So the heat really got to me and I didn't manage to do as much as I thought I would. I am a little bit of a weak person when it comes to warmth. So even though I complain sometimes that it's hard, like gardening in this kind of climate, I'm also not very suited for warmer weather, so I guess it is what it is. But yeah, I didn't manage to do the flower bed for as long as I had stones. They don't have this kind of red stone in my local hardware store, so I get them in Falun, which is a larger town, which is also where I work. But it's an hour away and I didn't feel like going there now that I have just a couple of days left of my summer holiday. So I'm gonna get more stones when I start work again, and then I'm gonna continue. I had more stones, but I used them for another project this summer, so I didn't really remember that. So, well, it is what it is. It still looks good. When I have the rest of the stones, I'm gonna go through them once again and level things. But I see the vision and it's looking great, so I'm very pleased with that. Otherwise, I have cleaned the porch a bit, I have cleaned outside. Now I'm gonna take a little bit of a break from the garden because it's still very, very warm. So instead, I'm gonna do as the troll that I am, and I'm gonna start working on the root cellar because it is a little bit more of my kind of temperature over there. So that is the next project, to make sure that we have a nice root cellar for all of our vegetables and jams and corduroys and everything. So yeah, root cellar is the next project. Otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and if you have any questions, just leave them down below and I will answer them.